So you guys missed last night's BaZi Breakthrough Bootcamp, our part 1 of our training. Not to worry, I'm going to give you a 10-minute summary of what we have discussed last night. Okay? So we started off by talking about the whole purpose of learning BaZi is to level up your life. It's about 5 days of intensive training using a proven framework to create something powerful that is truly your own to upgrade your life. It's about resolving some of life's most difficult challenges and some of the most difficult questions in life. It's about having that system to help you work through past traumas and limiting beliefs to get to the best version of yourself. And I started off the training by talking about the difference between fate and destiny, because a lot of times for beginners, they have a preconceived idea that, if it's all fated, and not astrology, if it's all fated, then what's the point, right? So how much of it is fated and how much of it is under your control? Well, I gave the story about a person going to the bar and meeting the girl of his dreams, right? For example. So if you go to a bar and met the girl of your dreams, that's fate. What happens that night? That's destiny. Because you could build a friendship, you could have, said no, you could have, let's, meet up and talk, and, so many things could have happened. That is your choice. Meeting someone can be fate, but what happens, whether there's a relationship built, that's destiny. So there's a lot of sections in our BaZi or our astrology that merely talks about what is given in life, right? What are the potential? But a lot of this potential are hidden. All of these gifts and strengths and personality is hidden until you make a conscious effort to unlocking it and using the sections that are good in your chart. That's the part about creating destiny. And that's what we discussed primarily at the start of our training. So in order to do the 5-part training, I have a 5-part training framework. And I introduced that yesterday. So part 1, which was primarily focused on the identity of an individual. We talked about how a person has a certain character traits, interests, abilities, all very unique to that individual. And that if there were certain conscious efforts in developing the more positive side of their character, their traits, their interests and abilities, they would excel in life. And if it's unconscious, that means they leave it all to chances, then there will be a chance that you won't develop all the true potential that is in your chart. Okay, so that was the part 1 of that framework. And I also introduced that session 2 will primarily focus on maximizing the talents and abilities and gifts in that person's chart. Part 3 will be talking about how certain skill sets are great for enhancing your career, taking whatever you do to the next level, making more impact. And then on part 4, we talked about building connections with helpful people, or building an emergency network, or recognizing opportunities that are there in your chart, but you don't see it right now because you don't know what they are. And for part 5, part 5 is a little bit interesting because not every one of you will be joining part 5. Part 5 is for our VIPs, and it's going to be focusing on creating different sources of what we call wealth. Now, wealth, of course, besides monetary, it also means fulfillment. It also means great health. I think health is the biggest wealth. Best relationships in life is also a form of wealth. Wealth can also be knowledge and experiences. So how do we do that? That will be discussed in part 5. Now, I also addressed the elephant in the room because many people would ask at the start, is there something to buy at the end of this 5-part training? Well, the answer is yes, only if you wish to go further. Because I said that this training program is primarily free for most people, and for those who want to take it further, fair enough, right? If they want to take it further, there are 2 possible routes they can take. The first one is the BaZi Core Identity Atlas training program. So this is a training program that focuses on how to read character, how to read traits, how to read interests, how to read abilities, and how to read a person's talent from a BaZi chart. And the second product that we have for offer, for only for those who wish to take this further, is the BaZi Core Identity Atlas Kit. So this is like a training kit that consists of cards. So this is like summarized into very quick reference cards that you could use immediately. And it also includes mind maps of the identity atlas. So let's say it's super easy. It's like just reference the card and immediately know about the identity of a person. So one is a training toolkit and the other one is actual training program. That was it. And I also announced that for those of you who have not yet already who wish to do so, can support us by joining the VIP package. So the VIP package is for those who, like yourself, probably you want a special Q&A session. Well, we have a VIP only Q&A session, extended replays, and some additional notes here and there. Okay. All right. Then the training then led on to the next section, which we talked about, victim to victim. Basically, before we talk about being able to change our lives or being able to maximize all the potential that is in our BaZi chart, we must first decide the correct mindset when we are, learning and using our BaZi. Because I talk about the story of when I was 15 years old, when I went to see the fortune tellers, the famous fortune tellers. And one of these masters told me that I will be, at that time I was 15 years old. The master told me that I will be poor from 15 all the way to 45. And, I was very shocked. And obviously, as a 15-year-old kid, poor to 45, what should I do with my life, right? Then I asked the master, what should I do? What happens after 45? Then the master said, well, you just get used to it. So that was a turning point in my life. And the reason I structured this 5-part training in such a way, in this particular way, is that when I look back at all my years as a practitioner, I realized that at that turning point, at that moment of pivot, my mentality in how I approach my BaZi actually made the difference. And there are actually 3 types over the course of the last almost 3 decades now in practicing BaZi, that if the mentality that you approach BaZi is not a great one, there will be a self-fulfilling prophecy and all the negative things in that reading will come true. But if you approach this in the correct way, in the right way that I will be showing you in this 5-part training, a lot of the good things from your BaZi will be come to fruition and will actually actualize in your life. So every BaZi, so first of all, you must know that every BaZi has got good and bad. Every BaZi. No one's perfect. The question is, how much of the bad will become real in your life and how much of the good? You can't get all of it automatically because a lot of us have a lot of stuff in the BaZi chart, but because we only focus like maybe the 10% and the 10% is shit, then your life feels like shit. But if you focus on the good stuff, which can also be just 10%, but if you focus primarily, you spend more time in that 10%, then your life is great. So how do we do that, right? So basically, yesterday I talked about there are 3 mindsets or 3 players in BaZi. The first player or the first mindset is called a struggler. Strugglers have victim mentality. Okay, so they constantly feel that life is unfair to them. They're helpless because the system is rigged against them. They're pessimistic about life. My chart's like that, It's not fair. I do so many good things in my life. I build so many good karma, but yet shit happens in my life. And they make decisions mostly based on emotions and they live in the past. So if you are a struggler, most people won't call themselves a struggler, but if you feel that the world is unfair, you never get a real chance in life, for example. You tried before. You tried many times, but it didn't work, right? And the government, the economy, or the market, everything is against you. That's your internal language. Most of the time, you're in a struggling state. And struggling state, in reality, if you look at your life, right? These strugglers generally have that issue of lack of money. There's always not enough funds. There's always not enough time. There's always some problems happening. It's so constantly complaining. There's so many things they don't like in life. They don't like this. They don't like that. The weather's not good. The government is bad. Traffic is bad. Everything is bad. They are great at looking at bad things. Right? Now, a lot of people are not conscious about it. But once you start listening to your language, you start realizing, shit, I want a struggling mode. And as a struggler, most of the bad things in your life will be the first to come to fruition. Now, then there are survivors, the one in the middle, right? The survivors are on the middle. These are the ones that, no, well, they're doing one or two things pretty okay in life, but they still have to submit to authority. They're probably neutral in their outlook. They don't really spend too much time building themselves. Right? They live for that moment alone. So these are the people that normally just make it through month by month. Okay, they're constantly exhausted. They don't have the luxury of slowing down because they're in that rat race. And they will say, at least I have a job, right? Well, it's not great, but it pays the bills. Well, that's surviving, right? They're surviving, okay? And they don't have much time to think about the future because, I just need to survive today. I got to go to work. Come on, right? I don't have time to study. I don't have time to improve myself. I got to go to work. So, I have no choice. This is just the way it is. So if those are the survivors, whereas the thrivers are different, right? Thrivers will, they probably start out the same with all the problems, but they have an abundance and growth mindset. They normally ask, what can I do next, right? What's the next step I can take to make this better? How can I make myself better? How can I make this work? And survivors probably will say, you know what, I don't have time. I can't afford it. I'll invest myself. Come on, I don't have time to do that. Buy a new house? No way. Save money for investment? No way. I don't have time, don't have extras. But when it comes to thrivers will find a way. Thrivers will find a solution. Challenges come, they'll always figure it out. Now, the reason I say that is because most people think that they are born like that. They are not. The parcel chart never ever says that you are a struggler, survivor, or thriver. It is your choice to play this game of life in one of these three modes. It's your choice to do that. In fact, there was a little assessment that I gave up prior to this training. So if you do that, you probably get a true reflection of it. Now, again, this is for you to have that realization, if you're playing the game as a struggler, and then if you look at your life, oh my God, there's so many things that's missing and all these problems happening, then you got to play the game at the survivor mode, or if you're the survivor mode, you want to get to the thriver mode. Thriver mode always finds a way. They know that there are tools out there that they can acquire, and they'll find a way to get that. That's the difference. So when I reflect back at my 15 years old, I was at that time, I was quite neutral at it. So I was a survivor. I've not thought that, my life sucks in any way. At 15 years old, I don't even know whether something is good or bad. I just felt, at the time, 15 years old, I'm not a leader in school. I find it hard to talk to girls. This I went for a reading, right? So at that time, I asked myself, I got 15 years old to 45 years old, 30 years. I'm pretty sure I can do something about it so that I don't end up being bad. So, and anyway, somehow I knew at the time that this is just an opinion of one or two people, right? And that was the pivoting moment for me to learn BaZi. And I hope that, right now you will also have this same mentality, that switch to thriving mentality, and eventually you will thrive and you will learn to use the best parts of your chart. Okay, so in BaZi, we have the benefits of mastering this art. After the last so many years, right? How many decades in practicing this? It helps you give life path clarity, like knowing where is the best direction to approach in life, the potentials, and helping me align my actions to that life purpose. There's life path clarity. There's self-understanding. It reveals your inherent strengths and weaknesses. It helps me identify the best timing to do the right activity. Activities can be correct, but you have to do it at the right time as well. Right? So if I do this at the wrong time, what's the point, right? You would have the right action at the wrong time creates negative results, and then you think the world's against you. It's not. It's just that you're doing it at the wrong time, right? Relationship insights, that has helped me a lot because I was really bad at personal relationships. Being a yin water person, you will know if you've gone through the 10 steps, generally they're more introvert than extrovert. So you might think, hey, you introvert? Yeah, I don't actually talk a lot. I only talk because right now I'm talking myself, right? If in a group of people, for most of the functions I go, I just sit in the corner. This is me. People always think that, with Joey up here, it's going to be a lot of fun. Actually, I'm not that fun in parties. My brother probably is more fun. So this is me, right? So I have to learn how to do a lot of this relationship thing. And BaZi helped me a lot with that. I understand the dynamics. I improved my interaction. So that was a big takeaway for me. Career guidance, right? Because when I was young, everyone told me that, don't waste your time studying metaphysics, this is not a real career. But because I learned this, it became the best career path guidance for me. What do I do to become the best that I could be? Maximizing means being the best. That's what it means. And so I have a survivor to thriver's mindset, and I actually chose to do it. I mean, a lot of people choose to be a struggler. In terms, it's all mental, right? It's not actually physically. But if you mentally become a struggler, guess what? In real life, you actually become a struggler, right? So in career, I use BaZi a lot. I use it for health awareness. It highlights potential health issues and periods of vulnerability. My older relatives, this is one of the go-to things. I'm like the go-to person to help them, right? Suggestive of preventive measures. So now as I got older, this is very useful for me as well, because those days, I'm cool, right? My health is great. But then as I get older, I got this and that, and a lot of preventions I could do right now. Emotional well-being, being a water person, I have a lot of water in my chart. I'm, excessively emotional. You should see my younger days. I'm a bit crazy, So, but now I have strategies to cope with emotional challenges, and I'm much better today than so many years ago. A great decision making support system. Definitely, BaZi helps with my personal growth. Those who have worked with me since in my early 20s until now, they have seen this growth over the years. Right, so this is something BaZi is like. It's like the guiding beacon, right? It helps a lot. So yeah, that you should. That's the benefits of learning BaZi. So yesterday I also taught that BaZi consists of just generally 5 elements, and in the 5 elements there's variation of the stems, the heavenly stems, which we discussed yesterday, and then the 12 earthly branches, with just the animal signs. And in your BaZi chart, you have your year, month, day, and hour. The year column, the month column, the day column, and the hour column. So this represents the your external influence, your friends, your industries. That's the year. The month column represents your career, your business, your work in life. The day column represents your identity, who you are, how you feel, your relationships. And the hour column represents your aspirations, your ambitions, your dreams, and also represents your connection with your kids at home. Okay, so I went through the 10 stems already in terms of the nature of the 10 stems. So again, this is just a summary of what I've told you yesterday. So if you want to get the notes as well for this, then as a VIP, you'll get to download some special notes about the 10 stems. Okay, so we went through the 10 stems of the character for Yang Wood. Being steady, straightforward, charming, independent. Yin Wood is being sophisticated, quick-witted, great at persuasive abilities. Then you have Yang Fire, who is passionate and warm, tenacious, routine-driven. Then you have Yin Fire, who are generally thought leaders, who are detail-oriented, who is meticulous. Then you have Yang Earth, who's very protective, who's steadfast, principle-driven. Yin Earth, who is super resourceful, innovative, and empathetic. And then Yang Metal, which is super resilient, strong in character, and they are systematic and decisive. And then you have Yin Metal, who is a little bit more elegant, and they love the spotlight, who is charming, right? That's Yin Metal. And then you have Yang Water, who is one of the most adaptive and unpredictable and deeply focused. And then you who are big visionaries. And then you have the Yin Water, who's emotional, is intuitive, and it's creative and observant. So we also prepared the notes specifically for the VIP. So if you're part of it, then you get some additional summaries of all these 10-day masters. And then I've also discussed that the presence of the stems in different parts of the chart might reflect a different perspective about that person. Okay. And then we have a special challenge. I think it's not too late to submit your the challenge by doing your homework. So if you submit this homework piece to your to the Facebook group, you fill it up, do your homework, you might stand a chance to win a free book. That's what we discussed yesterday. And that's about it. Okay, so that's the training for day 1. And part 2 is going to focus a lot on potential. It's about maximizing talents and gifts and taking your chart reading, understanding how a person operates and who are their helpful people in life, and how do you actually make use of it. So it's really, really exciting. I hope you will be able to make some time to attend part 2 live. You watch it live stream so that you can ask questions and be part of the fun. Okay? That's it then. All the best.